Hi there. We're on the show again with a new topic, and this time, Justine, I got a question from a friend, and he said, "Why or how can we deal with negativity around the beautiful word hypnosis? Because there's a lot of anxiety or misinterpretation about the word, especially here in Europe. I have no idea how it is in New Zealand, but let's dive in.
So in New Zealand, we don't really experience that anymore. I think New Zealand is quite open to different ideas. I think social media has kind of changed the way lots of different things in psychology is seen because there's more conversation. But I haven't experienced someone being scared or nervous about hypnosis for a long time. And I do work a lot in the mental health realm. And like even today, I work with a psychiatrist who was, I saw a psychiatrist who was really interested in hypnosis and what we do. So I think there's a massive shift going on, and maybe New Zealand is a bit more or further along in that than in Belgium, but we definitely, I'm not seeing fear at all. So when people, the only thing I tend to get very occasionally though, is people saying to me, I can't be hypnotized. And what I say to people about hypnosis and what I see, especially when working with like within mental health and people with, diagnosable conditions, is that if you are doing something in your life that you don't want to be doing, but you can't stop doing it, that to me is hypnosis. So, and I say that to people, if you're coming to see me because you're drinking and you can't stop drinking, what do you think hypnosis is? You're in a trance for whatever reason, usually past experience, that's causing your inner world to make you drink with no ability for you to stop. And I just say to people, well, so am I hypnotizing you to stop drinking? Or are we taking a trance away so that you can actually wake up and have a choice in the behaviors that you're doing? So when people are coming in doing behaviors like, I can't stop eating biscuits, I can't stop eating chocolate, that is hypnosis. I'm not hypnotizing them to not eat it. We're taking away that idea that they can't stop. And it's like coming back into their body, and then they have a choice. And if they still choose to eat the chocolate, but they're choosing to eat it, so be it. They can do whatever they want. But when they're going and eating the chocolate, sometimes without even being aware of it, they are in trance. And most people, to me, that walk into the clinic and they sit down and they go, oh, the reason why I'm doing this is because this happened to me and that happened to me, and I've got this and that. Their eyes are glazed over and they're fully in trance talking to me. And that's when we stop and do techniques to wake them up. A lot of people with mental health conditions, and I talk to my friend a lot who works in hospitals, they're walking around in trance. They're seeing and talking to ghosts in the corner of the room or imaginary people. We can do that every day for fun in hypnosis, chuck people into trances and make them have conversations and see things. So I know people on Facebook recently were saying that people that say that we're in and out of trance all the time don't know what they're talking about. But I'm telling you right now, most people walk into my clinic in some kind of trance that's feeding whatever behavior they're doing. Like I said, trance happens through an induction. If we do one, most of the time when I use an altered state in hypnosis, I use a heightened emotion to get there. Because when someone has a heightened emotion and their body goes into that space, to me, it's a great trance to work with emotion. So, yeah, I think education is everything. If you don't want people to be worried about hypnosis, then get out on YouTube and start making videos about what it actually is, not what it's not, but what it actually is, and get people aware that a lot of their day they're walking around in altered states. They're not thinking about what they're doing. They're telling them themselves, like if you're going around telling yourself stories about, I think we mentioned this in another video we made, if we're walking around in our world, but our inner world is playing out all of these stories we're telling ourselves, we're walking around in a daze, using our imagination to, affect our world. And people think, like I said, hypnosis is a magic spell we put on people. Hypnosis for me is when your imaginative world becomes more real than your external world. And that can be done through trance, through an induction. That can be done through suggestion, going to a doctor and them looking at you in the eyes and saying, you have this disease, and the body playing it out, whether it's there or not. It can be done through reading a book about a disorder or something, and then you kind of, seeing resemblances, and then suddenly you start acting out all the things you read or hear about it. You get on TikTok and research something, and suddenly you do those behaviors. So much, once again, of our life is playing out these stories in this imagination. So, if people are scared of hypnosis, what are they scared of? It's probably fair enough to be scared of the trances we put ourselves in, but definitely not with a therapist that's going to turn those off. Yeah.
So in one of the last videos, you talked about feeling secure. It's all about having the security. And I think in life, you have two extremes. You have a positive and a negative. And a positive is where you are well educated. And because you're well educated, you know the ins and the outs on that specific topic. And that gives you a sense of safety. Being well informed, having this feeling of safety gives you a positive feeling. And that's why you continue on that path. And on the opposite is the negative. You're not well informed. And that gives you kind of the creeps, gives you a negative feeling. And that's why you're having resistance on that topic. So if people are more or better informed about a certain topic, they understand it, and then they get a positive feeling. So the only thing we can do is to inform people,
educate,
do our best, and then hopefully, if we work enough, people are better informed, and they feel safe on the topic. That's not only the case in hypnosis, but that's probably also plant-based medicine or other issues. Being well informed, and it is your responsibility as a human being to make sure you educate yourself and not playing dumb. Not going to continue that expression, but just make sure you educate yourself. You read books, or you ask an opinion on an expert, and then you make a new opinion. Based on more facts, more reality, more expertise.
I would also say, if you are a hypnotherapist listening to this, get a really good idea about what hypnosis is yourself. Because if you just think hypnosis is putting someone into a trance and saying words to them and bringing them out and hopefully things will get better, then for you to explain to someone what hypnosis is going to be very difficult. Because if you explain to someone, I'm going to put you into this state and say some words and you're going to leave, that is going to make people feel a little bit like, maybe I'm not going to lose control. But when you really start to understand the mind and altered states and start to actually notice what's going on in your clients, and then you start to use language to explain to them what it really is. Like I said before, are you doing things that, you don't want to be doing, but you can't stop? What do you think that is? when you use words in that kind of real down to earth way that people can understand and relate to, then they're going to feel perfectly safe with it. So I think for hypnotherapists as well, start to have a real good think about what you think hypnosis is, and how can you explain hypnosis with your perception of what it is in a way that reassures people that they're safe. And when you explain things, explain them in a way where you're not talking about what it isn't. Like, oh, don't worry, it's not mind control, and you will have, you will have the power. When you're using that kind of language, they're picturing the words, their brain is picturing what you're saying, and they're going to take snippets of those words that hold energy. So if you say, don't worry, you're going to be in control, and then the word control fires up a negative feeling, they're going to put a negative association to what you're talking about. So if you're a hypnotherapist, get really clear in your head about what you think it is and how you can present it in a way that is easy to understand and makes the person feel safe and quite natural about it. We still want a bit of magic because, people come in and magic happens. But explain it. I think it was Jason Lynette that once said, tell people what it is. Don't focus on telling people what it's not, because it only brings up a feeling of not good energy around what we're talking about. So, my idea of what hypnosis is, it's very, like nearly everything is hypnosis, might not, gel with some people, that do it in a different way. So for them, it's about finding out, how can I explain things in a way that will make people feel safe, and then get on and explain it. Get on YouTube, do what Christoph and I are doing. Talk about it. If it's never talked about, it's not going to change. And I think that why in New Zealand that people do feel safe and it's heard of is because in the last 5 years, we've made a major push to get it mainstream here in New Zealand. And so, of course, everybody knows someone now that's done it. And so New Zealand, of course, is different. So it might be a little bit different because I don't know what your legalities are in Belgium, but, around doing hypnosis. But for me, I'd be getting out and educating everybody, talking about it in a positive way, in a way that makes their nervous system feel, safe.
Yeah. So I think that's about it.
Mm.
If people are in hypnosis, they need to be pulled out, and we can inform people on the topic of hypnosis, or people can inform themselves. And from the moment they inform themselves, they feel secure, and then there is no issue anymore. No more, don't look me in the eyes at the party or a reception or a family dinner. No. So
I'll tell you something funny. So when I go and do talks, when I go to expos and stuff, how people say not to scare people. If people come up to me and say I can't be hypnotized, I'll just stare at them in the eyes and say, you already are. And I actually purposely wind them up and laugh, and they love it, because then I just say, oh, nah, I'm only kidding. It's not like it's like that. And then we kind of talk about what it is. But actually, if someone comes up to me and they're nervous, if they did, it hasn't happened for a very long time, I love playing on it. It's so much fun when they won't look in your eyes, and then you like do something to get their attention, and then say, look, if I was that good, I wouldn't be sitting here in this expo. But yeah, it's having fun with it too, changing the energy and not being so serious about it as well. So when people start associating it with fun and change, it's cool. Yeah.
Wonderful. If our listeners have another question, just reach out to us, and we'll do our utmost to explore a little bit from our expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And see you in the next one.
yeah.